all these women are screwed. You're all screwed. All these men voted against you, and literally every oppressed person, every single one. And Devin, I can't believe you admitted it. God, I'm glad you did. I want to take you through this scene here. Yesterday, I did part 1 of this where I covered this couple. Oh, God. And their terrifying family. I mean, first of all, he doesn't wash his hands when he uses the bathroom. And he literally did that on their, like, honeymoon thing, which means he never does. This dude is just, doesn't wash his hair, but also is such a liar. God, he's getting his own video. That's part 3. But I want to come back to Devin because Virginia deserves so much better. And like most women on this show, that she is expected to date down. Other than like the Labrador dude, that couple's the only one that I have any hope whatsoever in. But Devin finally came out. Not only is he wasn't into prenup, but he literally is conservative. He votes that way. And I want to go over this scene where she finally asks this. And I was on a National Geographic reality show for one episode, and the editing of that episode made me realize I also worked in set dressing on I worked on Who Wants to Work with Diddy, believe it or not. Never met him, was only a day player on that show for a few days. But I've a little bit in reality. I know that the editing is everything. We literally could be missing so many important things, but based on the edit, this woman is gorgeous. She's brilliant. She's ambitious. She runs marathons. She has a doctorate. She gives and cares and it does volunteer stuff. And Devin does not deserve you. God. But the way she pulled it out of him, I want to show the amount of emotional labor this woman did to pull out of him. I did it in the last video about their talk about the prenup. I want to do it about his politics now. And also mention, this book, Rose Hackman wrote Emotional Labor. This book is so insightful. I see it everywhere now. And it's not just about emotional labor in regards to women. She also talks about subjugation, intuition. So basically anyone in a room with someone who has more power than them has to be more intuitive and kind of do all this emotional labor. So whether it's your boss, or, as a white woman, I know people are doing lots of emotional labor on my behalf because they don't know if I'm safe or not, women do this with men constantly. Predicting the need, tiptoeing around things, trying to figure out how to bring it up without getting in danger. This book is brilliant. I'm going to be referencing it more. I had Rose on live. Please join my Patreon, by the way. That's literally what pays my bills right now. And that's where I interview so many cool people and do watch parties and travel content and personal stories and all that stuff, whatever. Thank you, Patreon people. This message is brought to everyone. Thank you, y'all. Anyway, I'm just going to a little recap real quick, and then we're going to get into the reveal that him and his entire family are conservative. Remember, he has 100 pairs of shoes that are $700 each. Proud of this. He has a bunch more in boxes. He is a self-described sneakerhead. Also has a lot of medical bills from surgery as somebody who spent 10 years paying off a knee surgery that was $25,000 because my insurance wouldn't pay for it. He doesn't say how much debt he has, but it could be $5,000. It could be $5 million. You know what I mean? So this kind of vague reference to some debt, I hope they spoke about numbers. He also was asking if she wants separate accounts and, one joint account. She was like, I think we should have separate accounts. I love the way she handled this conversation. I went over it before, several days ago. She very gently brought up the prenup conversation, which then she also had to deal with his family talking about it. And the way she handled it was so brilliant because she brought it up as if she might be the threat. Don't worry, I'm not going to be in your pocket. I'm not going to take away from your money. You build a basketball empire. I'm not going to touch it. This man is a basketball coach. She has a doctorate. He has medical debt and a shopping issue. He's literally like Carrie Bradshaw level irresponsible. $700 $100 shoes, over 100 pair. That's $70,000. But okay, he wants to have children right away, right now, but has no money. So she's going to fund. He's very excited to give her his name, Miss Buckets. And like I've said in videos recently, I'm going to show you an article too that deserves its own video. Do not change your name right now. You may not ever be able to vote again if you change your name. You are going to lose so many rights by changing your name to satisfy their ego. Don't do it. I know it's easier for the kids or whatever. I don't care. The stakes are too high now. He always also talks about how she makes love so easy. Don't do that. Do not be easy. Make them your peace. Don't be their rock. None of that crap. We're done. It's 2025. Don't ever let them think that you'll always be there for them and then constantly brag about how they can tell you anything, but you never judge them. Judge them. Don't let them think you don't judge them, and anything they do is fine because you have unconditional love for them the way only parents should have with children. Never two consenting adults in a financial agreement, a business contract called a marriage, or even if you're not doing that, you're just dating, still don't do it. No unconditional love for men. They don't love us conditionally. Don't unconditionally love them back. And remember, this is his mom. Now, as I've said before, I am not someone who can speak on interracial dating. That's out of my lane. But what I can say, based on being an immigrant in another country and what I see just in immigration and international couple, is the woman is the one who carries the culture, who influences the child the most, a lot. And she seems to be really concerned about her king baby boy being taken care of. You know, she made sure that he doesn't have, what about he loses his job? She was really concerned about this prenup. She kind of seems to baby this man and wants another woman, Virginia specifically. I hope she's not jealous of Virginia, because we know how mother-in-laws can be if they are enmeshed with their son. But a lot of moms who enable their sons and don't teach them how to take care of themselves, and that's not just mothers, okay? I'm not blaming the dad is equally as responsible, okay? But I'm saying, oftentimes when a son feels entitled to a woman to do literally everything for him and doesn't know how to do anything, well, he probably saw his dad not doing anything and saw his mother doing everything for him. So he thinks having children will be fun. The same way a child wants puppies, men want babies, lots of them, but don't plan on parenting them. So we can get back to this family in a bit, but there were so many red flags in this family in terms of they wanted to make sure that Devin is set for life, for a woman to take care of him. He sold them on her being all about, nonprofit and whatever I want to do, she's there for me. Really? So if you want to have like a failing business with her money, she'll do, like literally anything he wants, she'll do. And the brother made sure that she is going to be okay with their parents moving in when they get sick, because none of the other kids want to take care of the parents. So they literally asked her, are you okay with it? Who do you think takes care of the parents when the in-laws move in? It isn't the son. Is that something you'll be okay with? Yeah. None of the family members, the sister, the brother, the mom, the dad, none of them liked the idea of a prenup. They ended up being okay with it because it was either a prenup or nothing. But they were very suspicious. And what I didn't realize was behind that was how religious and conservative this family is. Like, I'm not sure if they're this level of religious and conservative, where both this dude and her mom both said divorce is not an option. Never marry a man who thinks divorce is not an option. You are literally entering a hostage situation. And any man that asks your parents for permission to marry you, for consent to do something with you, as if anybody gets that choice other than you. And there's no dowry involved. So like, come on, red flag. Like maybe they edited this stuff out of the pods, but I don't remember Devin and Virginia talking about church or faith very much. They probably did. We know we don't see a lot of this stuff. But do not convert for men. Don't go to their church. I mean, other than to check out the kind of crazy messaging that they're getting. It is very white nationalist sounding. But I had no idea until this scene right here with Virginia's mother. And he was talking about why he liked her. And it was because she was big into her faith, and that's something I really cared about as well. I don't know, y'all. This season was so freaking boring. I think I either fell asleep or tuned out for a lot of this, so I may be missing some stuff. Just a lot of the things that he says to describe her. I don't know. I don't really want any man ever describing me as having a pure heart. He was like, yeah, she's such a good person. Every time he talks about her, he talks about caring, good, helps people. Like, it's all about what she gives and not what she ever is just in her own right as a human, right? It's all about utilitarian, functionality, giving, self-sacrifice, self-abandonment, but never about like, wow, she is so freaking funny. She is so brilliant. She's so like all these things that as a human who stands alone on her own is who she is. It is always in relation to what she does for other people, which is going to be serving him great. As I've said before, ask the men you're dating, why do you like me? What is it about me you like? And if all they say is stuff like that, caring, generous, loyal, you're a great mother, you just love me, you make me a better man, you're my rock, la 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 la. Everything that's about them and what you do for them, you are replaceable. They don't care about you, they care about your labor. They think they care about you a lot of times, but they don't. Because the moment you extract any of that labor, you're replaced. Commitment is everything to me. It's what I've seen my whole life. He does give examples that his parents have been married for 34 years, but we don't know their marriage. Time doesn't mean anything to me. I've seen some of the most miserable people be married. My grandparents were married till the day both my grandmothers died. And at least one of them was literally a hostage. So longevity is not, it doesn't mean anything. I am equality. I mean, maybe they're like just love each other so much, but we didn't see much. They could literally hate each other. Sister's been married for 10 years. Grandparents, blah. But your grandma was a hostage problem, as most of our grandmas were. I've seen what it takes to be together for a long time. You've seen what it takes women to do to endure a man for a long time problem. If this is a conservative family, as you claim in a minute, I'm going to show you, then yeah, it's not what men do. It's what women do, what women sacrifice, what women endure for the longevity. But let's get back to that word commitment. Do you know, I used to think that I was a committophobe until it was my best friend Liz who was like, are you kidding me? You just didn't want to be trapped. And yes, I am a flight risk. Commitment I'm a Sagittarius too, okay? Some things have been hard for me because of trauma I didn't know about or hadn't dealt with. You know, like a lot of stuff from family and childhood and my relationship stuff, a mess. Absolutely. Commitment was hard for me for a lot of those reasons, but you know what else? I didn't want to be trapped. I've never wanted to be trapped. So that's why I literally didn't date any men at all for 12 of my adult years. And it was my friend Liz who was like, you're one of the most committed people I know. Because I mentor several people. She's like, you have been so committed to our friendship for, it's been 20 years now. You are committed to the people that you help. You're committed to your niece, like your family, your sister. You are committed to your craft, your storytelling, your sense of, you are so committed. So whatever this idea that you don't, commitment, you don't, and she was right. So when we talk about commitment, somebody who wants children so bad and wants to be married so bad, but is in that much debt and keeps buying shoes, they may have a commitment problem. He sounds like he's committed to basketball. I mean, we know that. I gotta show you what he bought her, by the way. And he seems very committed to his faith and his family, right? If they're conservative and vote for this administration and their values, he's committed to the values that oppress women, apparently. Maybe very committed to the kids he helps and his job, but like he is not committed to the thing he says he wants to be, which is a father, because he is so financially irresponsible and yet has always wanted kids. He's always wanted kids, but does not reflect someone committed to making that happen. So, nope. Pay attention, y'all. He's very committed to things that he likes, but there's no evidence that he is committed to being a father or even a husband. Everything is folding her into his world. It's really more about making sure that she's committed to enduring him under patriarchy. It was when he said this line that I was like, oh no, Virginia, run, run, get out of there. I think the biggest thing is making sure that we put God first. And goes back to my video I did yesterday. Again, I have no issue with religion necessarily. I know a lot of people, some in my family, some in my life, who are religious. They go to church, but the values they stand by and the actions are of people, their church gives them community. And they vote with their conscience. Even several Catholic people who are like, nope, I disagree. Abortion is a fundamental, it's a human right. It's health care. You know what I mean? So if you are religious, I'm not attacking you. But again, I am saying men who are religious and are all about putting God, some daddy, some mean dad who took his own son, his only son's life, made him suffer to teach those humans a lesson, and then has an adversary bad guy to make him look like a good guy. And it's just does awful things constantly. For what? Just to prove a lesson? Men who are like, God is first. You know, that little umbrella thing? It's God, daddy, mom, children, right? That is a hierarchy. And if God is first, you're third. He's second. And half the time, God doesn't talk to him. God is like, yeah, you're a man. Do whatever you want. Just go say, I'm sorry, God, you're forgiven, and keep doing it. I had no idea how religious this dude was until he said this sentence. Then he said the rock line. I feel like we're each other's rock. No, you are nice to her. You make her feel safe because it sounds like she's always dated assholes. And you're kind to her and you're gentle with her and you're sweet and you say affirming things and you seem like a nice guy. And I'm not saying he's not nice, but his belief system around women is absolutely patriarchy, hierarchy centered. So he may love her so much and then literally go into that booth and vote against all her rights, even his own. Literally in Minneapolis, where George Floyd was unalived, the 2020, all of that was kicked off in Minneapolis. I knew that there were conservative black men out there, but I thought maybe they were just red pill or radicalized maybe. But apparently there's a lot of them in the church. Maybe it's not even the podcast, it's the church. Maybe that's where most of this is coming from. That man doesn't believe in abortion. He doesn't believe in any of these things. Oh man, and you could tell when she asked him those hard questions. The reason why I'm going into this is I just want women to start to ask these hard questions and let these men talk. Let them talk. None of these men wanted to talk about anything deep. And it was the women who initiated, maybe not none. What's his butt? Golden Retriever guy. He seemed to want to have conversations to make sure that most of these men, they're no, it's good. Everything's fine. And the women were like, by the way, does your church want to heal trans people? And then that Ben guy or whatever, they was like, I don't know. Dumb. Again, I'll do that in another video on that. Devin didn't want to talk about any of this. And the way she approached this conversation was so relatable. Any woman who's been really worried about something and is like, oh, I got to bring this up. How am I going to bring this up? I'm going to bring it up. Which I'm going to show you in a second. And he said this again. She doesn't judge me for anything. Like that Ashley Madison dude, whatever he does, he's probably going to tell her, well, God forgave me. If you believe in God, you'll forgive me for cheating or whatever it is he's going to do. Just one final thing from this conversation. Sorry, y'all. I have been sick all week. I feel fine now, but now I sound terrible. But I gotta pay my bills. So bear with me. Sorry about the sound like Marge Simpson. She made me feel like she really cared for me. The everything he says about her is about me, 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 me. Even when talking about their future, it's never like how I'm going to serve her. Nothing. You're going to be the future Miss Buckets. You're going to be at my basketball games cheering me on with a baby on, a little toddler on your hip and a pregnant, working the concession stand while also somehow making all this money. And like, where is she going to have time for all this? Literally everything is about him. And this was literally his dream that he described on his own bio on Netflix. The cast description page, the bio's greatest ambition to meeting a woman who supports him from the sidelines during big games and in the kitchen every night. By the way, I also want to point out this last line. This is a red flag to me. Men are like, I can't wait to have a wife so we can stay home and dance at home and play music at home. That man's gonna bore you. He's literally gonna be doing his own thing or at home and wants you to like do all this stuff at home. He's not gonna go on adventures with you. He's not gonna go have fun. He's probably not gonna take you on dates. That man wants to stay at home. And so many men literally want like a dog to sit next to them on the couch while they watch their favorite thing. On the rare occasions they're home with you, it's to like do what they want to do. But they don't want to go have fun. This to me is such a red flag. I want to do all this stuff at home. I swear, so many men just literally would just watch TV for the rest of their life if they had the option of doing that. So now I want to break down this really critical scene and show you how men will avoid anything like the same with 90 Day Fiancé when I broke down that show. And I probably need to do follow-ups because I have so much to say. All those men lied through omission, and men will lie through omission all the time. They would just avoid hard conversation, avoid hard questions. They will just not tell you that they're not monogamous or, that they have an STD or they're unemployed. Like that dude in Thailand, and like literally they have all these things that they know would probably be deal breakers for you, and they just won't bring it up until it's too late to change your mind. You fly all the way across the world to marry them or get the visa or whatever, or you go on a show and literally marry them. He was never going to bring up politics. Never. So she brought it up. And let me tell you something. The way she brought it up is such a perfect example of this book and what she talks about. Because I guarantee you Virginia's been thinking about this. There's no way she was not wondering, okay, after I met his family and the things he said, the things he wants, and the things I want, I got to make sure this man's not voting against me. I'm going to make sure that he believes in abortion, right? There's no way she was probably stressed about that conversation the same way, they showed her legs shaking when she brought up the prenup thing and how she had to like, I don't want to take your basketball empire. Like that is what women do. We're so good at this. Just, build you up and tiptoe around it and just casually bring it up. Just like here. She's like, is there anything we need to talk about? We're down to the wire here. And they're not actually down the wire. It's like 2 weeks away. But yeah, I could like, they had just met with her mom. Any lingering thoughts? I couldn't tell you how many times in my life I'm like, I gotta bring this up. How do I bring this up? When do I bring it up? How do I bring it up? And I'll stress about it for weeks, months, however long, until I have my moment. And then I'll just casually bring it up as if, I just thought of this. Gosh, this is what she's doing. He's like, I don't really have anything in mind. No, I don't know. I'm just feeling real good. Everything's going my way. I just, you're going to be on the sidelines supporting me. You got all this money. I can keep buying my shoes. Have all these babies you raised, but I get the social credit for it. I'm at a good place. Nothing else. These people have known each other for like a month, I think, and he has no questions. None. The fact that any of these people think they're ready to get married with such a short period of time, they haven't even talked about politics. The only reason they've talked about anything hard since they got engaged is she brought it up. Prenup, finances, are we going to, split finance? Like, oh, and I forgot to show you, for those who didn't see the last video, he's like, so you'll pay the mortgage and I'll pay he didn't say you. He's like, one of us pays the mortgage and the other one pays the utilities. Given that she makes way more money than who do you think's paying that mortgage? Who's paying the utilities? How is that fair? Now, if he was also doing all of the domestic labor, all this other stuff at home, maybe. But that's not how it usually works with men. Yeah, I really don't have anything I'm worried about. Shut it down. Let's just be quiet. Let's just do the fun stuff. Maybe, stop ever talking about money and all this crap. So then she does this is so brilliant. I do this all the time, y'all. Not as much now because I'm not as afraid to be direct. And I also I don't have to do this with my husband because he wants me to be direct and I'm married to him, okay? So these conversations are easy for me to bring up now. But still with men out in the world, maybe male family member or whatever, any men in power over you in a scenario, God, So she does it just like she did with the prenup. She's like, yeah, I definitely can't think of anything I'm holding back. No. But then she eases into this conversation. She hits a lot of topics in this one scene, y'all. It's brilliant. Navigates into this conversation about what does it mean to be loved and feel loved. And so then he ping pongs the questions back. At least, he knows to do that. Some of these men literally, you ask them questions and they're like, no. And then aren't like, what about you? So many men just are like, no, yes, maybe. So she's like, it's important for me now to experience love in action form. So then he's like, do you feel that now? She's like, yeah. I think what she's kind of trying to get at is the same thing with money, right? And this is what my whole last video was about. Men with ambition but no action are full of crap. It's all fantasy. Do not marry someone's ambition. Their actions show their drive. They show their commitment. They show their priority. And his priorities are shoes. That's his priority. Shoes. Not marriage, not kids, not building his empire. It's shoes. Not paying off his debt. It's shoes. So I think she's planting a seed here of being like, if you want to love me, you better show you love through action. So she affirms him and is like, no, I feel that they're not dealing with money yet. They're just dealing with words of affirmation and thoughtful things. But apparently she had to bring up the fact that he's not very affectionate because he reminds him he's not a PDA person. And he's like, and this also scares because this seems very purity culture-ish, which then comes back to the religious. I didn't like seeing other people do it, so I was like, I'm not going to do that because it'd be hypocritical of me. That really shows some insight into his thinking. Seeing people loving each other and being affectionate, not humping each other in PDA could be as simple as giving each other a kiss, hugging, showing love and affection. And in his mind, he didn't like seeing it. Why? Maybe jealousy. I don't know. Usually people aren't that bothered by something if it's not coming from a place of jealousy or shame or thinking it's wrong. So even if he wanted to be affectionate with her, he's like, no, I can't. It's hypocritical of me. God, the self-policing kind of stuff, right? Which is very in line with the religious stuff and purity culture and the rigidity and the hierarchy. And then she's like, but really, maybe they're in their moment and they're just, showing each other love. He's like, yeah, maybe I need to ease up on that a bit. So it's this whole conversation is wait a second. You literally don't show your partner how much you love them because you don't want to be a hypocrite, because it angers you when people show love. It's I love the cameramen, camera women, whoever. They zoom in on things that zoomed in on her doing these nervous things with her hands while being completely composed, as women tend to do. We could just be like, oh my god, okay, how do I bring this up? And they're like, we're such good actors. And they also zoomed in on him doing this when they were talking about abortion. But that in a second. He's like, when people are in love, that's what they do. So maybe let them express themselves. I'm just saying, let men talk. Because at 28 years old, if you hate seeing people loving each other, that should be examined. And then he's like, how do you feel about the physical level of our love? I don't know if they're talking about O's and stuff. So, yeah, I feel good. We're continuing to grow. You better learn how to. I ain't met her. I don't know. That to me was yeah, we're good. Always room for improvement. Women know you can't criticize men on this. Okay, so then after all of that, y'all, he says this. Something that's crazy for me is that any other relationship I've had or any other, and then he clears his throat, I don't know if he stopped himself there, just being in bed with another person, I've never felt comfortable. He said in any other relationship or basically any hookup or anyone he's been in bed with, he's never felt comfortable. Bro, have you ever had a real relationship? Have you ever had a girlfriend? If you had a girlfriend and you were not comfortable in bed with them, why? Have you not examined that? I really think there's some purity culture stuff happening in here because, of course, this is really religious communities in the United States especially are very tied to purity culture, which is devastating for women and deadly for women. But it's also makes men not even have fun in the bedroom, even when they're satisfied. It is so bad for everybody, all gender. And he's like, yeah, but with you, it's crazy how it is. At peace I feel laying in bed with you. What have you been feeling in bed with everybody else? So then she's like, yeah, I sleep well next to you. I'm comfortable. And then she does it again. Gently pushes for a harder conversation. So, is there anything else that was I don't know, you feel that we need to talk about? Anything? And she uses her mom as a way to make this conversation happen. Because her mom had a lot of questions, was drilling him as she should. I'm trying to remember this stuff. My mom was saying, I feel maybe there's some stuff we should talk about. God, I hate how women have to do this. She can't just be by the way, what do you think about abortion, politics? Who'd you vote for? Why don't you kiss me more? Why are you no more affectionate? It's what's your deal with PDA? I wish she could have just had a bullet point. The way, do you see this is how we bend ourselves into pretzel. I feel maybe there's some things we should talk about. I don't know. This is us making ourselves small for their big ego and not letting them on to the fact that we have premeditated this because this is life and death. This is life and death, especially for a Black woman in America. If he doesn't believe in abortion, that is life and death consequences for her because of all the systemic racism and the personal racism of people in those hospitals and what happens to Black women when they go to hospitals for literally anything, but especially pregnancy. That is so dangerous. So she needs him to be on board with abortion. But she's doing the thing where it's I don't know, maybe. And he's like, you're saying with your mom? And she's like, yeah, force yourself. Ask me some questions. Think of something. Don't make me drag this out of you. Ask me some hard questions. We have only 2 weeks. What'll make you mad? What'll make you kick me out? This is her being I don't want to steal your basketball empire. All of this is her just being bro, how afraid should I be of you? What do you really believe? What's going to make you go and sleep in another bed? Me not cooking dinner for you? Me not coming to one of your games? You know what I mean? What would it be? Literally say anything. I feel we already had all these conversations. Again, this is the 3rd time. If we don't agree, it pushed me away. We agree on them though, so it's okay. You don't have to worry about me leaving. We agree on everything. Let's not talk about it. As long as we're agreeing, you don't have anything to worry about. Finally, she's just all right, what about politics? What do you think about politics? Finally, just so I can't dance around it anymore, man. Politics? What about politics? Here we go. I don't know. I'm telling you, if she got paid for the amount of emotional labor that she's having to do in this freaking scene, she would have made thousands of dollars. So much labor trying to ease the burden of his massive ego. Or as Rose talks about in here, being a man manager and self-editing. And I'm just going to quote, performing emotional labor, which is identifying or anticipating other people's emotions, adapting yours in consequence, and then managing to positively affect other people's emotions. Can often look like putting other people's feelings first. That's what she's doing. And this is self-editing work, which is self-abandonment. I'm not super into politics. Look at her face. That means he's voting for Trump. This is literally what the dude who goes to that church, who doesn't believe in gay marriage, really, even though he says he does. This is literally the same thing. I'm not really into pot. I don't think about it. I don't know. How convenient. But I actually don't believe it. I don't have a strong stance on it, if I'm honest. No strong stance is a strong stance. Not voting is voting. Not caring is a very strong stance. But are you on one side or the other? What's the side? Like, God, I can't believe he doesn't just assume that she is a Democrat. Like, bro, I usually vote Democrat, but okay. But it's generally a pretty flawed system. I get it. Like, I love that she's literally putting everything in there. But they're not perfect, okay? It's a flaw, but it's important. But it's important to vote. Look at her face right here. She's probably like, I can't believe I'm having to have this conversation. I feel so bad for her in this moment. And it's so relatable. But then he's like, well, when you're voting and things like that, you try to align it with your faith. Your faith meaning God is terrifying and men are on top. Yeah, I think people have different takes on that. I can be Christian and someone else can be Christian and they have their ideas of and very conservative. And I have different ideas on those things. But I do make my decision from faith. Because again, a lot of these men who are like, oh my God, love thy neighbor, but unalive them if they're trans. Love thy neighbor, unless they're George Floyd. Love thy neighbor, unless it's a wife who won't submit, then kill her. Right? You know what I mean? So there might be a different view how Republicans that are conservative feel about it, right? They think they're Christians making decisions from their faith. And I think I'm Christian and I'm making political decisions from my faith. I love how she laid this out. And he's like, Then she just says it. People should have abortion rights. That type of stuff that is literally life and death for someone like me. How do you feel about that, bro? And I think gay people should have rights. All those things, right? Do you believe in cruel policy? Do you believe people not like you are beneath you and deserve to be dehumanized? Do you believe that, bro? And then she even does this. Try to explain to him. It's hard because these things are becoming political. These conversations, again, like pronouns. Pronouns were not political. They did not trigger the right so much until recently. So even abortion, that was very accepted for a while. And then, there's a whole story behind how that became the number one issue. That's another video though. I thought we were past this stuff, but no. It's an interesting time to live in the United States. Basically, do you understand how dire things are right now and why you need to care? And he's like, yeah, that's true. I thought people were going to be able to have abortion. I didn't know we had to debate that again. Being like, hey, duh, right, you're on board with this, right? This was a done deal. And now it's it's only a hot button issue. It's only being debated. It's only being overturned recently. But we settled this a while ago, right? You know that, right? What do you think? Look at him. This right here, walk away. I'm if he even has to think about it. I don't know. I kind of go back and forth. Women should die or they shouldn't. I'm not really. I feel like women have their bodies and what they want to do and all that stuff. But I also think that men and the women that in the situation that's happening, if she's pregnant and then deciding what to do with it, it should be both their decisions. Duh. Fair is fair. She's like, okay, but you just mean that he should be able to say his opinion, right? Yeah, his opinion on it. You think that or not? Obviously, yeah, he can give his opinion. And then she's like, it's the ethical, moral thing to do. Communicate with your partner, blah, blah, blah. But I think regardless, women should have the choice to do what they want with their body. So at the end of the day, we don't care about your dumb opinion. I'm doing what I want to do. And then look at his face. He clearly does not agree with abortion. And that should frighten her. He's been really vague. He's hiding it really well. She's like, so we're aligned on that, right? And he's like, yeah. No! So we're going to vote the same when we go to the polls or different? I just want to be clear on this, okay? Are you voting for Trump or not? So she's really trying to figure out, what is he saying? So what do we take from that? And he's like, if we voted differently, what would that mean to you? You wouldn't be okay with that? Okay. He's admitting it. He is going to vote differently, and he has. And she's like, I'd be okay with it, but we should talk about it more. I think some of them are just really big topics, you know? Like, I think it would be kind of alarming if you were just way on the other side. Like, if you like Trump, if you are anywhere near this red pill stuff, we have a problem, dude. Yeah, I agree with that. Mm-hmm. But you know, it depends on the candidate. She's like, yeah, but usually when they're a part of a certain party, it's because of those core things. I can't. So how about this? What about your family? How do they vote? Typically conservative guy. Because they're on the side of what their teachings of their, look at her face, what their religion says. Abortion bad, trans people bad, women inferior. She's like, that's interesting. What are you supposed to say to that? Terrified of your family now and kind of you? She's like, my family does not vote that way, but they're black. So I feel like a lot of black people, like there's not a lot of black Republicans. I don't know. Like I love how she's kind of joking here. She's probably like, how? Why? What is wrong with you and your family? He's like, but my dad's black. So he's like, I'm not talking about your dad. I'm just saying in general, you know, if you look at the statistics, 92%, then like, did you not look at like the polls and understand? Like, do you not know your history? But yeah, I think that plays a role. Again, they keep focusing on crossed arm. Very defensive stance. She finally gives up. I'm not going to keep beating this horse, okay? So then she again is like, any other topics that we need to talk about? I can't really think of any. No. Shocker. I'm going to end on this last thing about him that really pissed me off. He got her a gift on their beautiful date night. He was so thoughtful and bought her a gift. Something that represents me. Oh, but it also represents us. Y'all, if you ever get a gift like this, run. A basketball. A basketball with his name, Team Buckley, right? Like, he already talks so much about basketball. And his whole world is about basketball. All of his dreams involving her are about her cheering on him in basketball. Not about all this amazing stuff she's doing on her own before she met him. It's all about her. She was a cheerleader in the NBA. Now she's his cheerleader. And I bought you this ball. Not only a ball, a basketball. This had nothing to do with her. How dare you give her this gift that has nothing to do with it? Y'all, I'm just going to add this really quick. My father, this is before I knew what a narcissist was. I was so not surprised. He gave me and my sister, as adults, like in my 30s, I think, football jerseys for the Tennessee Titans. I hate football because of him. Because football was always more important. I had to watch so much football because that was his whole world. And if you want to spend time with dad, you got to do what dad likes. Watch him watch football. If I will never spend any more time watching football in my life if I can help it. And he had the audacity to give me and my sister jerseys for his favorite team in our 30s. And it was $50. I took that back to Casternot or whatever. Got a refund. It was so insulting. Men who buy you the jersey of their favorite team or the basketball with your... This says it all, y'all. This says it all. If the voting and anti-abortion and all that other stuff wasn't enough, spending problems, family who wants you to labor, this should make you run. And if that wasn't enough, he also got them both jerseys. Team Buckley. Is it Buckley or Buckets? I don't know. I'm reading the subtitles. It said Buckets in another thing, and now it's saying Buckley. I don't remember. There's one with his name on it and the number 3, which I guess is his number. And then another one with her name on it and his last name and their wedding date. Because God forbid her favorite number, whatever it is. This is so selfish. Anyway, Virginia, you deserve so much more. Please say no to this man. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, y'all, let me know what you think. Please join my Patreon if you can. I have cool lives coming up, watch parties, all kinds of stuff. And let me know if you heard the comment song. And let me know if you want to hear part 3 of that Ben dude. Woo! I also owe you a video on what's his butt? Dave. Oh, I got a lot to say about him too. Let me know if you want to hear those. Et voila! Leon painting song, Leon painting song. Saw this yesterday, another building with fake people painted on it. That's not really a painter. Kids sometimes riding bicycles and fake plants on the side. I don't know why they do it, but it's kind of cool. Even a fake building on a building. That's the old style right there on the left. Fake people in a window and just fake stuff, and even a fake dog. That's not a real dog. It's a fake painted dog. I think it's cute and a fake little tricycle. Why not? I went with my friend and our baby on a little adventure, walking around, and of course a cemetery is involved. Why not? They're pretty and creepy, but baby adventures with Aunt Melanie. I love this baby so much, but maybe not as much as this one. Probably the same. I love both of them equally. Baby dog. Comment song, painting, comment song. I do this at the end of everything, y'all. Let me know if you heard this. It's random and fun. Et voila!